welcome back to my channel. My name is Belle and this is the Belle Perspective. I am here again today to talk about, actually to do like a follow-up video on a previous video that I posted about a month ago. I came to you guys introducing a book that I was reading. And it was about 800 pages. I finally finished, and I just wanted to give you kind of a follow-up, a little bit of a recap of what my overall thoughts were. And let you know if I recommend the book, and just kind of give you just an idea of what I'll just give you my perspective. Okay, so let's get into it. I am going to try for the life of me to not spoil the book. I will mention characters' names, but I will try not to give away any plots or anything like that. So I will mention names, but you won't know where they come from or how they all connect together. I'll try to make sure that I don't spoil this book, I promise. So, if you want to check out the first installment of this, I posted it about a month ago. I'll try to post it here at the top of the video here. Click that link and you can check out my introduction to the book. It is called, and I'm going to hold it up one time and then I'll probably just find a clip of it and then post it every time I refer to it again. But I absolutely love this book. I love touching books. I'm not a Kindle girl. I'm not a tablet girl. I gotta hold and feel up on my books. You know what I mean? And as you can see, I've made like notes and all kinds. Like I had questions. Like this was something that really, yeah. Okay, so the book is called The Love Songs, if it ever comes into focus, The Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois, or DuBois, I like to call him DuBois because it makes me sound fancy, by Honorée Fanny Jeffers. And again, I talked about reading this book maybe a month ago, and I will try to post the link in the top of this video here. Anyway, so The Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois, or DuBois, by Honorée Fanny Jeffers. It's about 800 pages long. It follows a young woman named Ailey Garfield and all of her ancestors from her patriarchal family, or paternal and maternal family. So, and all of the lineage that pulls everyone together. It mainly focuses more so on her maternal link, but it also references and talks to you about her paternal links as well, but mainly the detail as far as the ancestors are concerned comes from her maternal link. So it's a beautifully written book, and again, I talk about the author, I talk about some of her inspiration and how she started, where she came from. She's originally a poet, and the book reads like poetry. It reads like poetry. It's extremely poetic. It's beautifully written. I will say that. I do have my qualms. I do have some qualms. And so we'll go through some of the questions to kind of walk me through what I felt and how I felt, my takeaways from the book. But it was extremely poetic. This was her first novel. And so it read like a novellic poem. If that's even a thing. But it read like a very long poem, beautifully written and not as aloof as some poetry can be, but you can tell she's a poet in her writing through and through the pages of the book. Okay, so let's talk about, what I'm gonna do is basically interview myself sorta, and I'll try to put the questions at the bottom of the screen so I can like talk to you about it, and then also not spoil it, but also give you an idea of how the book is. I will also mention some of my qualms with the book, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so the first question I'm asking myself so that I can talk to you about it is, who is my favorite character? So my favorite character, despite Ailey Garfield being the main character in the book, my favorite character is Uncle Root. And if you do decide to read the book, and I strongly encourage you to read it, I do recommend it. There is a lot of, so before I, just caution, before I answer my question, let me put a little warning here, just a little bit of a trigger warning here. This book is based, it is a snippet of, or it is an illustration of what African descendants of enslaved people have experienced. It goes into detail of what African descendants of enslaved people and enslaved people went through during their time of enslavement here in the United States. So it covers a lot of traumatic topics and areas of abuse. So there's child SA. I'll let you put the S and the A together. There is child physical abuse. There is graping, and I'm not, drop the G. There's grape. There is topics of incest, molestation. There's a lot going on. And so when I say that the book is good, I do want to give you trigger warnings that it will trigger you in many ways, and it can get really dark. But even through the darkness, there is a light. I would like to describe it. And I won't even say it's a light, because I feel like that sounds kind of corny. And I'm not a poet at all. There is a light. There is a thread of hope, I should say. There's a thread of hope that is illustrated throughout the book. So while all of the trauma is going on, there's still a thread of hope throughout the book. I will tell you that once you're done reading the book, you will think about it for days, weeks, maybe. It might even pop up in your head, a couple months after you read the book. It is that impactful and impressionable, or it can leave that much of an impression on you. So anyway, I just wanted to say all that. So let me hurry up and not make this video long. It's all outdoors. But who's my favorite character? My favorite character is Uncle Root. That is Ailey's great uncle, I think. I don't know if I added too many greats on there. I think this is great uncle. Either great or great. I think it's great uncle. I think it's great uncle. Actually, I don't know. And that's another thing about the book. You need to write down, get pen and paper and write down her lineage, because you will get lost with the ancestors, okay? So my favorite character is Uncle Root. You'll see why. He was a beacon of hope. Like, that's the reason why I had so much hope throughout the book, because he was a beacon of hope throughout the entire novel. What was my favorite part? So I kind of split the book up between the first half, between page 1 all the way to like 400, and then from 400 all the way up to like, I think it was like 780 or something like that. I won't say favorite, but the part that out of the two sections, I think I enjoyed the first part best, because it was such a page turner, and hours would go by and I read 100 pages, or 30 minutes would go by, an hour would go by and I read 100 pages already. It was that addictive. I had to put it down for a while after that 400 mark, because it just started getting really dark. I would encourage you to continue on with it. Continue on with reading the book, because it is rewarding at the end. Well, it comes to a conclusion, and it helps you kind of tie some things together. But it was dark, and I needed to take a break. I really did. So the second half was my favorite part, or I'm sorry, the first half was my favorite part, just because I was so glued to it, and I had to know what was happening or what was going to happen next. What could have been left out? There were some character. I will just say, from a character perspective, who and what could have been left out. Aunt Diane could have been left out. I didn't feel like she really served a purpose. They didn't follow up with her and their family, that side of the family. Who else could have been left out? There was a character named, well, maybe he was you. There was a character named Scooter. And I'm going to just tell you, Ailey just, I mean, she just lived to make bad decisions about men. And it just, you understand why for the most part, but you still start to run out of patience for her. I'm not even going to lie to you. The main character, you start to run out of patience for her. You really do. And you're just kind of like, girl, at your big age, we still. But then, you know, people may grow up, but they don't grow wisdom. You know what I mean? There are such things as old fools, okay? So anyway, so while I was disappointed with her decisions, I guess Scooter was an essential, I guess his character was needed. So that, Aunt Diane for sure though could have been left out. That's who could have been left out. How would I continue the story if I were able to write the next page? I would be working on making, and without spoiling anything, I would be working on redeeming Ailey, because at the end of the book, you're just kind of like, I don't care about her at all. Which, okay, you're like, Belle, how are you going to tell me that you don't care about the main character? It's the main character and you want me to read it? I will tell you why I recommend it, okay? There are other characters throughout the book that you're like, wow, like, okay, who is this person? And I want to get to know them. So that's one of I would work on redeeming Ailey if I turned the page and wrote it myself. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would recommend you to read this book. And the reason why, even though I didn't care for the character, there's a lot of trauma in it. For the main character, there's a lot of trauma in it. I now, after reading this book, I now have an overwhelming respect, an overwhelming appreciation, sense of gratitude, and an overwhelming curiosity with finding out about our ancestors, and not necessarily my specific ancestors, which I do want to investigate, but just the idea of our ancestors and the things that they knew, their medicinal practices, their spiritual or religious practices. I don't necessarily know if it was religious, but more so spiritual practices. The things, their relationship with the earth, their relationship with the moon and the stars, their relationship with each other, how they interacted with each other as men and women prior to colonization, prior to enslavement, prior to any of the things that got in their way. This book has reignited. Actually, I don't even think I've ever had a sense of fire and a sense of wanting to understand and appreciate our ancestors and everything that they truly went to. And when I went through and waking up every morning and thanking our ancestors for going through what they went through so that we could be here right now in sound mind and sound body, this book woke that up for me. And so I would encourage people to read it so that they could understand that our ancestors went through all of the things that they went through for us to be here. And I want to make sure that I'm showing every ancestor, not even if they were not mine, weren't a part of my lineage, but the enslaved Africans that were here, I want to make sure that I honor them in everything that I can and will do. And so I think that that's what the book will ignite. And so that's why I recommend it. Yeah, I don't want to take them for granted anymore. You know, and no matter what you believe, as far as like, you know, what you believe from a religious perspective, I don't want to knock, you know, what you believe or anything like that. But as I get older, I'm starting to believe and starting to learn for myself that what we were taught in churches and things like that, it's just simply not accurate. Simply not accurate, simply not true to life, and not what my ancestors were doing prior. And therefore I just can't trust it. You know, I can't trust it. It was used to further relegate them into enslavement, into being captured, and I can't. And so that leads me into my last question. Actually, that leads me into my next question, because I have one more. What now? So now, because I've read this book, I am going to be doing somewhat of a historical timeline on the laws. So what real critical race theory is, researching the laws and government and how race and the law further impact racism, further impacted and further enforced racism, and further enforced enslavement. So what were the laws that were put in place that further enforced and further introduced and further enslaved Africans that were here in America? So I want to start doing some research, and I don't know what that will become, but I definitely, that's one thing. And then also a timeline of the culture of enslaved culture and what that looks like. What were they like while they were in their homes, in their quarters, all those things. So that's gonna be a little historical project for myself because of this book. So there's a lot of things here. I encourage you to do it. So my very last question, what did I not like about the book? I'm gonna save that to the end because I obviously have to keep it real. Again, the main character, I didn't care for her. She didn't sell me. She didn't sell me on the main character. I wish we could have further developed a few characters, a few things throughout the book, through a few themes throughout the book. I wish we could have further developed some of those items and some of those things. Dug a little bit further into the paternal side, because that would have been helpful to know what was going on really and truly. There were some unanswered questions there, and again, I'm trying not to spoil it. But with their father, I needed to find out if their father knew about his own dad. I needed to know what their paternal grandmother actually knew. Yeah, there were a couple things that I was just like, dropped the ball on this one. But it didn't stop me from continuing to read. I still thoroughly enjoyed the book. And I would recommend the Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois, by Honore Fene Jeffers. So that is the end of my recap, or my follow-up recap. I will again try to stick the first video up so you guys can see that. These are the next two books that, and I don't know what is up with, it's called Girl. Hold on, Girl. By, who is this by? Jesus. Oh, Kenya Hunt. So I'm reading that. It's a collection of short stories, I think, and essays. And then Kimberly Lawson Robbie, The Perfect Marriage. I'm reading that. Starting to read that. I'll start that in the next few days. What is up with all the black books being yellow and orange? What is that about? I don't know. Maybe because orange and yellow look so good on black women. I don't know. I mean, we look good in any color, but I feel like orange and yellow just makes our skin pop. Anyway, and there's one other book that's called The Internal Enemy, and it's the history of enslavement. It's like it's from 16 to like 1865, like before Reconstruction period. So that's another book that I'm going to be digging into to start my research. So anywho, if you like this video, hit the like button, comment down below. Let me know who your favorite characters are. If you read the book, if you plan on reading the book, let me know if you have any questions. Let's have a little bit of conversation down in the comments. Again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Belle. This has been the Belle Perspective. I will make some videos based on these two books and also The Internal Enemy as well, because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be, curious about those books. So I will come back on and talk about them as well. Do like kind of like how I did with Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois. So anyway, so go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe and be a part of the growing channel. And again, my name is Belle, and you are super special. Remember that. Take care.